all that I've heard throughout my life is Atithi Devo Bhava. I don't think I've heard this term anywhere else. I've traveled extensively in the world. And I'm so proud that I come from this country where Atithi Devo Bhava is all that we have learned and we've been taught. We have our government. We have Shri Narendra Modi ji talking about Swachh Bharat.
स्वच्छता के इस संकल्प को चरितार्थ करूंगा।
No other minister, no other world leader has ever spoken about cleanliness as part of their main agenda. One day, accidentally overheard my parents in the middle of the night having a conversation. What I heard was a total game changer for me that night. Being an only girl child, they did not allow me to pursue international career so easily. So I just wanted to run away from all of this, find my own path. It was a very tough call. I had to jump out of my window in Bangalore, run away with a suitcase.
You ran away. Ran away for housekeeping?
Yes, I ran away all this for housekeeping. Can you believe it? To have a career. Now, housekeeping, what liking it may have. Who wants to clean? How do I make it attractive to next generation? If I'm a 18-year-old girl and you're asking me, do you want to be a director of housekeeping? I'm going to ask you why. What is the salary like? Those of the people who think housekeeping doesn't pay enough, you're highly mistaken. Curate your own storytelling, which is not limited to domestic, traveled around the world. You're one of the top tier professional making some real good money. Housekeeping has evolved. The heroes in this field, they do need recognition. Why don't we deserve to have a celebrity housekeeper? We are not saving lives in the world of housekeeping, but we are the frontliners. Let's glorify them. Let's change the name of the game.
I think we should do this at the International Housekeepers Summit.
Give me a high five. There we go. There we go. We made it. We made it. Yes, we should. We should.
Hello, Pamini. It's such a pleasure to have you here in our studios. Welcome to India.
Mohana, can I say hooray? I'm so excited. I'm so excited to meet you again.
It's like, it's a year since we've been talking this, and
Absolutely.
we should be on this podcast. We should be talking about hospitality, Gen Z, housekeeping, and there it's happening. It's just happening.
Fantastic. I've been waiting for this. I mean, we've been through this talk for long and you made it, girl, you made it. I think you are bringing all this thing down and I'm so looking forward to this podcast.
It's important, today when we are talking about housekeeping and you look at the Gen Z today, it's like two different pillars.
So true. So true.
And it's let them also know today, why did you choose housekeeping? How did you come about it?
Well, that's a brilliant question. Let me answer you first a bit about how the humble beginning started from home. Why hotel management at the first place?
Right.
Because you know how Indian parents can be, it's a bit difficult to think beyond Indian.
And that too in that era. Yeah.
In that era, talking about 2 decades ago, literally a bit more than that. But talking beyond doctors or engineers, so I was no exception. I was also listening to those grades, scores, and how to go about becoming a doctor, an engineer. None of that I was interested in. So yes, I believe that the whole action kind of started, when I was one day accidentally overheard my parents in the middle of the night having a conversation.
How old were you then?
I was barely 13 or 14, I remember.
Okay.
So I see, what are my parents talking at 2 a.m. about? I mean, like, are they having their little, secret gossip or a fun talk? But it turned out to be a very serious talk with what I could realize. And I was like, yo, what is they talking about? Do I have to be worried? So I did something I shouldn't do. So but I think I did it out of good intentions. I wanted to just make sure my parents are okay and I'm not missing out on anything, maybe a difficult conversation. But what I heard was a total game changer for me that night. So I heard my dad and my mom talking to one another on a very serious tone, which never happens usually, uh, on the fact that should he take a voluntary retirement and how much he's gonna get out of it and how much he has to bear expenses of out of that money for my wedding. I was only 14 and I was like, gosh, what am I hearing? Is this real?
Oh,
And my mom is like, yeah, that's a real thing. But if you, kind of shell out all your money on her, Then how are we going to have a house for us?
Lord. Okay.
Yes, it was very interesting. And for a 14-year-old, I'm talking about 23, 25 years ago, for a 14-year-old to understand that these are difficult conversation. So for me, I was not understanding as to why are they even talking about. Second, why my dad has to spend his hard earned money on me. He has already given me good upbringing, great education, great supporting parenting environment. And the last thing I want to do is to snatch away that money, and which I never wanted.
Right.
And here I was envisioning to be a lawyer, to be an army officer, and that's all I was wanting. So that was the whole rationale behind my thinking, because I then realized that, oh, that's a serious conversation. I need to gear up. I need to grow up fast. I need to study something that is shorter, quicker, and quick access to money. So then you do go about doing research, and then you ask a lot of people, and then you say, boy, you stumble upon hotel management. And guess what? Hotel management never had a great reputation back then.
Oh.
And they would say that, oh, you're not studying engineering. You're not studying a doctor course.
Okay.
You know how it is, like parenting. They think is it even a study? What do you get out of it? Does washing, vessels, making beds, cooking food is a job? Does that even pay bills? All of that. So that was the era I was exposed to hotel management. And I thought I must take this because I knew that after my 3 years of graduation, I'm going to go and get a job. And that was the whole rationale behind it. So again, I did that course and I wanted to get a job. I passed out as a gold medalist from higher university.
Like, oh, I think you were an award winner right from the beginning.
Yeah, I think yes, it was quite bit in the genes. I must say, I was a national volleyball player, and then there was everything that I took over. I wanted to be best at it.
Yeah.
I just didn't know whether it would fetch me an award, but I just wanted to give in my best, and I think it has been God has been very kind. And then after graduating in those flying colors, I got through campus interview, and I got through my first job in ITC Park Sheraton and House, Chennai. Woohoo! I was so excited. My first job, my first paycheck. And I was so happy with the fact that I'm going to give at least 70% of my earnings to my mom. And so that I help them build their house and they don't even give me
Yeah.
that money. It stays with them. That was the whole rationale. And then after doing 2 years, so my first year happened in Chennai, the second year happened in Bangalore. And then I still think these talks were not dying. My mom and dad kept on talking about who should we find, how should we get her married to, maybe this much money I should keep. So the elephant was still very much in the room. And then I decided to pursue international career, which was so hard and so hard. So I just wanted to run away from all of this, kind of.
That's family.
Yeah. I wanted to run away. I wanted to find my own path, without compromising on my values and on my intentions of helping my parents. But obviously, being a only girl child, they did not allow me to pursue international career so easily. So when I got through my first break with Dubai, I believe it was a very tough call. I had to jump out of my window in Bangalore, run away with a suitcase.
You ran away.
Yes, I was chased by my parents, lucky enough, not by police.
Ran away for housekeeping.
Yes, I ran away all this for housekeeping. Can you believe it? To have a career. And I wanted to make every single person who said that this industry and this profession wouldn't give you a proper remuneration or a social security. I wanted to prove them all wrong. So I wanted to go and have this international career. Obviously, mom, dad followed me. There was an emotional drama at the airport. I had to vow. I had to take a vow with my parents and assure them that I wouldn't do anything bad. I would make them proud. I'll be a good girl. I'll call them regularly. Of which one I didn't follow, which was I never came home after 1 year. Yet to come. It's been 23 years and I'm still not home yet. But I believe when I took the decision of going overseas, I think life just changed for me. I can say that all the great things started to happen. Met some amazing professionals, learned a lot along the way, great opportunities. I helped my parents build the beautiful house. And I'm very proud to say, Mohana, that up till today, I never used their money, and their money, their hard-earned money, stays with them. And I've been so blessed. I really thank God for giving me that powers to support them during their old age.
I know, I can just understand that feeling when you have, done what you want to do
Yes,
and made it a point to prove, at least to your parents, that yes, I can do it.
absolutely.
And I'm so sure they must be so proud of you that, what they are seeing as a daughter today.
25 years of experience in more than 10 countries with at least 14 international awards. And when they read, amazing. When they read and see everything about me, I think it's a very humbling feeling. And the best thing, my mom started telling all her cousins and all her relatives, extended family, that don't let your girl get married. Make sure she studies. I was like, I proved my mom, I proved it to my mom, and she's no longer talking anything about what she used to. I mean,
Lovely.
about having to marry at a certain age. And so I'm very glad to change her perception in this lifetime, which was quite a task.
It's a matter of perseverance. Even today, Gen Z, if you go to see, if they are able to place their points the way they should, and prove their capacity of achieving what they want to, I think many parents would be able to adapt to what today's Gen Z wants. Now, talking of Gen Z, let's move to one aspect that you had an experience in India, which was probably limited to a few years, but you have been more as an international housekeeper. So, what difference do you see in these two aspects?
Let's take it one step at a time. Let's talk about Gen Z.
Okay.
What is the catch 22 situation we have right now? Is that you and me, we belong to millennial age, which means we know the world with phones, without phone. We've lived a lot of our childhood without phone, so we know how it works perfectly, how it is to receive a telegram, how is it to get a post office, how is it to write letters, how is it to wait for that phone to ring and hear the voice, and all of that. That's something I believe Gen Z would never be able to experience, because we have seen life with phones, with smartphones, with Blackberries, and without any of that. So we know the magnitude in which life functions. But today, Gen Z is completely dedicated to phones. And I know phones are becoming only smarter. But you can't have a smartphone unless you are smart.
That is a point. And another basic thing is we were not hooked to,
Yeah.
gadgets for communication.
Absolutely.
And today they're all hooked to only gadgets, phones,
It's
laptop,
completely app IT. It's completely digital. Everything is out there. And I think world in future would be like that, which is fantastic, which is I think the next generation. But I believe that Gen Z should realize their focus ability. I think your ability to focus on certain task, and your ability to not get distracted by that one beep of WhatsApp, or one notification on Instagram or Facebook or any other Snapchat or any other notification. I mean, it's so important that we are able to retain our focus, because our generation growing up, we were focused. Yes, we had distraction. We would go out and play in the park or sand or get dirty. But I think that was a lot less, damaging to our focus than the mobiles are. I think constant screen time is an issue. And I believe, to all the Gen Z out there, you please have a smartphone with you, but please be smart enough to use it wisely. And you should all limit it to a time frame. Like, what is my screen time affordability or availability I have? Other than that, I would like to also want Gen Z to take something back with them. That what is in your bag other than the phone? What is in your bag? Show me your bag. Do you have a book? If you don't, that's a concerning factor, because books are the only way through which you can retain your ability to focus. Is you're listening, you listen to books, you have a screen time, again it's a notebook. But the joy of holding a hardcover book, to have that page, breaker, and to you to read through those notes and to highlight the notes that strike the right chords when you read is a beautiful way of meditating. It's an absolute meditation when you read a book, because when you read a book, your all awareness, all focus is on those words and the magic it creates, the understanding. And I think that's what every student should have. So what's in your bag should be more than just a phone.
So, how many books have you read?
I have a wonderful bookshelf. I'm an avid reader, but I would say that I just read How to Have a Dopamine Detox. So that was the book I was reading while I was in the plane. But then I think I must have read more than 60 to 70 books
Nice.
now.
Nice. So, which is the best so far?
My personal favorites are books by obviously Indra Nooyi that I've been reading.
Great.
She's such an icon, such a powerhouse. I love her. I'm a diehard fan, Indra Nooyi, if you're listening. And I also like the book that Nice Girls Don't Get Corner. The book is Who Took My Cheese?
Okay.
So that's a best book. I also read a book, Depth by Sadhguru, which is, I think, very spiritual and very awakening. How can you be detached with the materialistic attractions and stay focused on your purpose in the life?
What was your takeaway from these kind of books? Has it ever touched upon you or touched your work life? Has it given you some guidance?
The book that I often resort to is Bhagavad Gita. That's by far the book that has empowered me with right SOP, standard operating procedure of life. I believe that that's where I got all my answers, and I resort to this book now and then
Okay.
to get life lessons and to get a direction on which I'm headed to. So I believe that that's a joy for me to read that book and take so much life lessons out of there.
Talking of hospitality, I will also go back to where you say when the phone beeps.
Yes.
So, I remember you were talking about, the distraction point because of a beep.
Yes.
So, would you like to add in that?
Absolutely. I think I was reading somewhere a very fascinating catch point, Mohana. Very, very fascinating. That, let's say, if I'm talking to you right now, so I'm focused to you, and you're asking me questions. I'm looking at you. My all senses are now focused at you, and I'm trying to understand the most out of what you're asking, and I'm trying my best to give you the right answers to it.
Right.
But let's say suddenly I did not keep my phone on silent or vibration, and something beeps, and my focus is now shifted to my phone, and my brain has already started to process. Maybe that could be from my mom, or maybe something I was expecting, or maybe whatever chores that you're doing. What does that do to you? That kind of takes your entire focus shifting, and it results into such a bad productivity for you. Now, for me to take my conscious focus from there and put back to you after the beep. And the article says that once you are like contributing yourself through all your senses into something and your focus, whether it's reading, writing, talking, listening, whatever it is, any detour or any distraction can cause you a delay of 32 minutes to come back to your own focus ability to retain that 100% focus
Wow.
that you had primarily. When I read that, it blew my mind.
I can imagine in a sales call when somebody's phone rings.
Imagine,
God.
and that was, I don't want to quote whether it's a right or a wrong. I don't want to quote, but when I read it, I found some sort of truth in it, because we do get distracted. And when you come back subconsciously, we are still thinking about where that message could have possibly come from.
Correct.
And it is true. It's like we have to train our brain to stay focused. And to stay focused, we have to learn to put our phones on silent, and we have to learn to limit the exposure to our phones. And I know it's tough and it's taxing. The whole world revolves around smartphone. But we need to find that balance in order to succeed.
But Pamini, where are we complaining? You're talking about mobiles, but that's where we are heading to. Everything that we want to do today is there in that mobile. Even housekeeping for that. You need a process, it's there on, you want to record, you have completed this wrong, you have to record it on your mobile. So what are we complaining about?
Good question. Good analysis. Of course. We are heading at a fast pace towards digitalization, bringing technology on board, saying no to papers, going sustainable, using all the smartphones for smart processes. Agreed. I think that's a good way forward because that limits a lot of paper usage, becoming more sustainable.
In fact, I think from what you were talking of housekeeping in those days and to what we are seeing as housekeeping today, I think there's a wide difference with the technology intervention.
Of course. I mean, when I started 2 decades ago, I'll take you through domestic as well as international, all throughout the 2 decades. When I started, obviously, there used to be zone system. We used to have zones as a productivity benchmark for our room attendants. We used to have a trolley, like larger than life, big trolleys, and imagine you pull it, you push it, and that's physical throughout the corridor. So that's definitely what I've seen. I've seen them use a lot and a lot and a lot of papers, whether it was checklist, whether it was signing into a room, whether having the vacant room list or whatever Fidelio and Oprah could give you, they would have that. And a lot of filing system, a lot of sensitive information out there in the paper, guest names, room numbers in the cart. That was the era I've seen. Then obviously the progression has been made. We have come from zone system to credit system. We have come to buddy system. So not one person does the room cleaning anymore. It's two people. Goes easy on your back. You can have a very good camaraderie with each another. Then the system came, no trolley system. Go invisible housekeeping. So you have your rooms clean, but you don't see the housekeeper on the floor. How cool is that?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So again, two people doing it. Again, you split the work. You carry this, I carry this. We go, we finish it in certain time, we march forward. Then a technique came, prioritizing rooms. So as an attendant, I used to decide like what rooms I will clean. Like, okay, these are my rooms. I'm going to go one after another. I'll have my lunch break. I'm going to go. Now it's about credits, how many credits I have to clean. And they will be dictated by the coordinator or somebody who will say, okay, next room is this, next room is this, because it pops on your phone. Which room to clean next, depending on which room is required by the front desk.
Right.
There's a lot of technology. Now let's talk about equipment. Boy, oh boy, what an immense progress. Each company has come up with such a digital evolution, whether it's saving water, whether it's cleaning without chemical or with limited chemical, whether it's about the speed, whether it's about robotic cleanings, not only floor, but facade, glass, buildings. I think it's amazing to see the kind of revolution.
I think it's a complete transition where you've got to
Absolutely.
be a walking behind, a walk behind scrubber.
Yes.
And today you just,
Ride on machine, you just go there and make it simplified, clean the parking space, and zap, it's done.
and even now when you're talking about robotics, you just program it and it just does cleaning.
And while you do other chores, it does vacuuming of one place. It's amazing. There are so many technologies out there. I think even smartphones have made it smart processes because I don't have to give you printouts anymore. You just come sign in for your smartphone. It takes you through the drill, records the system, what time you clean, what time you go. You can raise your customers, your guest issues. If there is any if there is any maintenance issues, you can record that. Discrepancies are recorded, so on and so
And
forth.
even we have the real-time data. You come to know how long
Yes.
it takes. What are varices you need to, alter.
Absolutely.
Then why is it that today the Gen Z does not want to opt for housekeeping as a subject? Very sadly, I have spoken to so many of the ed schools and they don't have any enrollment for housekeeping.
The $1,000,000 question here, Mohana. Let me ask this to you. Growing up, studying when you're in high school, would you dream of cleaning a room and a bathroom? Do you even do yours? Do you even do your own room cleaning?
My children don't.
So there it is. It's like cleaning is definitely a need, but it has never become a required or necessity. You have to do that. Because you live in a place. Your own bedroom has to be clean. Your own bathroom has to be clean. But would that become a profession? That is the sad reality, that it is not very let's say fashionable. it is not very it can't be a profession for a love at first sight relationship. You know what I mean? You want to be a doctor, engineer, you want to save lives, you want to be an aeronautical engineer, you want to go to Mars, discover so much out there in universe. You want to be, my daughter wants to be a veterinarian doctor because she loves pets. My son wants to, he's 4 years old, but guess what? He says, I want to be an automobile engineer because I want to build fastest car. There's always these things that attract to us as human beings. We want to do something because there's some sort of purpose attached to it. There's some sort of liking that is attached to it. Now, housekeeping, what liking it may have? Who wants to clean? We have our government. We have Shri Narendra Modi ji talking about Swachh Bharat. No other minister, no other world leader has ever spoken about cleanliness as part of their main agenda. Now, here, how lucky we are to be under his leadership.
And of course, he takes the broom himself.
Yes. So I believe world is changing. Again, if you look back, how many leaders did propagate, propagate something like that? Did have an agenda even of Swachh Bharat on their, on their agenda? How many leaders had? No. World is changing. Modi ji came, he educated. He told us how cool it is to hold a broom and clean. Let's clean our nation. Let's clean our minds. Let's clean our vision. Let's say that this can also be one of the, jobs we shouldn't be ashamed about. We should keep our house clean. We should keep our city clean, our country clean.
Let's deliberate on this point, actually. Is it that we did have cooks, but today it's
Don't call them cooks. They get offended. You must call them chefs. Everything is in the name.
okay.
Everything is in the name. It's all about. I think it's fundamental how you would want to change from there. Let's say housekeeping. You said cook. I said chef. Chef sounds more beautiful, appealing, dignified, glorified,
Okay.
more professional, glamorous. A while ago, my daughter wanted to be chef. She still loves pots and pans. And who doesn't? Who doesn't love eating? But you see, what I really love about chefs' journey is that the legends in the kitchen industry, in the culinary industry, look how they have these amazing titles: chef, executive chef, culinary director, celebrity chef, Michelin star chef, Michelin star restaurants. Amazing. Who doesn't want to go there? Who doesn't want to have a friend, with who doesn't want to be with celebrity chefs? It's so cool. Now, let me bring you to the reality of housekeeping. What are the titles? Executive housekeeper, director of housekeeping expert. Fantastic. Thank you. But housekeeping stays. Cook has gone, chef has come, but housekeeping stays. Then there is no celebrity housekeeper. There is nothing for us. There's nothing for the legends who have worked very hard and who have pioneered so many, storytelling in this industry. They've been pioneering a lot of causes, whether it's sustainability, whether it's evolution of AI in the industry. They are piloting a lot of projects. But why don't we deserve to have a celebrity housekeeper? We have celebrity chefs.
Oh, let's change the term housekeepers. What do you
Yes.
call it?
I would love to call them, if you give me my opinion,
Yeah.
I would love to call them curators.
Okay.
I would love to call them stylists. I would love to call them, let's say, a game changer, a game changer in the world of cleanliness. So maybe they could be like
So they-
luxury stylists or the sweet stylists, It's like sweets. Why do we call room sweets? It's simple mechanism because sweet sounds more luxurious.
Yeah.
Presidential suite, royal suite, executive suites. But they're rooms.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And they're slightly bigger rooms.
Right.
They're
Right.
called the names. Everything is in the name. I'm staying at penthouse. It's actually a room, a high rise, bigger room, more rooms perhaps. That's it. But when you say penthouse, it has an effect. As opposed to say I'm staying in 1 BHK or something else, which is also cool. But people would say with a bit of a oomph in saying I live in penthouse.
Right.
It's all about how do you want to play with the words and use the right words?
Possibly where we are trying to talk about housekeepers, not actually as housekeepers, but they are our hygiene managers. They are the person who are going to keep us safe. Yeah. In fact, cleanliness, safety, healthy, they are possibly, yes, playing a different role than what they used to play earlier.
Absolutely. They are the room comforters.
Yeah.
They are the, I'll take you to just day-to-day chores. You have a house help. I have a house help. We call them maids, nannies. Why call them that? How about if I say, she's my family support? Allow me to introduce my family support to you. I get this family support every day or for few hours a day. It really puts the entire perspective, and even they would like it, the one who's coming and giving this support to us. They would like it because everything is in the name. Sometimes you want to be a doctor because it's a very prestigious title, and of course it's not easy to become a doctor. But when you say Dr. Mohana, Dr. Pamini, wow, it has an effect because it automatically sends the signal that, oh, they are very professional, highly qualified, and they are here to save lives.
True, true.
Okay, we are not saving lives in the world of housekeeping, but we are the frontliners. Let's glorify them. Let's change the name of the game.
I think we should do this at the International Housekeepers Summit.
Give me a high five. There we go. There we go. We made it. We made it. Yes, we should. We should. I think we must. We must.
And this time at Goa in August.
Yeah,
Make the difference.
hey, of course. And we would want as many participants as we can. I think it's our golden opportunity to do some historic announcements. We can talk about.
Let's change the terminology.
Yeah.
Let's make them celebrities.
Yes.
Let's launch something which each of the yesteryear housekeeper is proud to look forward to. And today Gen Z will say, yes, I need this profession. I want to be a celebrity.
And guess what, Mona? I mean, now that we are talking, you know how passionate I am about this concept of having a celebrity housekeeper. We've spoken over a lot of years.
Why?
Because I feel that we deserve it. We deserve. Yes, chefs are qualified. They're amazing. We love them. But I'm happy for them as well because they have something to look forward to. Housekeepers must also look forward to something like that. Some recognition because guess this is professional job. It's about emotional intelligence, usage of emotional intelligence. The whole diaspora of housekeeping fraternity, whether it's FM, hotels, tourism, hospitality, or hospitals, any part, cleaning jobs must require its due. It's time. It's time we make Gen Z fall in love with us. And also, there's a catch factor. For those of the people who think housekeeping doesn't pay enough, you're highly mistaken. If you're adopting a right strategy, you have a right experience, and you curate your own storytelling in a way which is powerful, which is not limited to domestic, which is not limited to one place of international. If you've traveled around the world, you've played your hands, hotels, FM, everywhere, you know that you're one of the top tier professional making some real good money, which is a catch. And I believe the team needs to know there is a lot of rewards for.
And I think there's a lot of graduation that's happened. Okay, you start, but hospitality has been a base of many of them who have become, possibly entrepreneurs, having their own cleaning contracting company or facility services company. And today, even international giants have entered into India in this space. And everybody has got a hospitality base.
That's true.
And today, they are, running many corporate houses with the same kind of services.
Hospitality. I mean, we are Indians. I'm an Indian. All that I've heard throughout my life is Atiti Devo Bhava. I don't think I've heard this term anywhere else. I've traveled extensively in the world. And I'm so proud that I come from this country where Atiti Devo Bhava is all that we have learned and we've been taught. Guests are everything. They are like gods. And we in India must embrace it wholeheartedly. Any profession we do, whether we are even a taxi driver auto driver, at immigration, in the airport, inside the plane, in the hotel, doorman, anybody, even at home, Atithi Devo Bhava concept must be applied in a way that everybody feels it. The moment they touch down India, they put their foot inside our country and they feel every one of us living and breathing that phrase.
Right, right.
How amazing it would be. Just think about it.
Absolutely fine. In fact, as you were mentioning earlier, that smile in the doorman who opens the door for you to leave the hotel. I know it must have been an amazing feeling. And even if you look at the other interpretation of Atithi Devo Bhava, is possibly dedication.
True.
Where you're wholeheartedly doing your task, your work that you are, and wearing a smile, a welcome smile where people feel rejuvenated,
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what we all stand for in India, where we give our whole and soul to whatever we do. And so is in housekeeping.
Absolutely.
And that's what possibly has made you. I cannot say you're no, I mean, I cannot say that you're less glamorous. Even now, when you are talking about housekeeping and renaming it and giving it that celebrity or a glamour, is something which I'm sure our viewers will be thinking about. Why not? And it's high time that we move towards an era and respect that era, what it requires today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate your kind words, but I couldn't agree more with what you just said. Absolutely. Housekeeping has evolved. The heroes in this field, they do need recognition. Not that we are saying there isn't any. There is. There is recognition so much. In the field of recognition, there has been amazing improvements over the last decades. Some phenomenal improvements. But I think we could do more. We could really. How do I make it attractive to next generation? Why should I be? If I'm a 18-year-old girl and you're asking me, do you want to be a director of housekeeping? I'm going to ask you why. Like why? What is the salary like? Am I getting, am I becoming anything special or just a regular manager? You talk about chef, every chef wants to be one day a Michelin star.
Right.
Because there is a podium you want to reach. It's like Olympics. Every sport, has an Olympic, a medal. Every sports person wants to once in their lifetime have a gold Olympic medal. That's they find it. Every movie star wants to hold a national award or Oscar.
Right.
These are something they look forward to. And that's so I believe that we should set a stage. It should be tough enough for sure. It's tough. It's not easy to be any celebrity, per se, whether it's in chef or housekeeping. We should have top standards for sure. But at least if I embark on that career trajectory, I look forward to reaching there one day. Maybe in 20 years down the line, I want to retire with that particular star on my shoulder. I would love to be called, oh, Pamini, the celebrity housekeeper. And that's what we would want every single professional, especially in the field of housekeeping, to retire with. They should have something to look forward to. Of course, the benchmarking is
I
tough.
think we started with such a vision of giving a recognition with the Asian Housekeeping Award.
Yes, and that's brilliant. We started already. It's going very well.
So now let's I mean possibly in Goa we gear it up and possibly add the star to it.
Yes, absolutely.
Which each of the housekeepers, whether the legendary or the Gen Z, will be proud to carry with them all their life.
Absolutely.
Actually, when you look behind, housekeeping is a profession where people have to take immediate action. Even I've heard that you have to churn out a room in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You have to, a guest is waiting and you have a constant call from the front office. Is the room ready? Is the room ready? And, there has to be some quick action and possibly two people run in and do the needful and, come out and make sure that, the guest does not complain. And even there have been situations lately in the past with, would not mention the tension creation that is happening globally. We have seen housekeepers have to take decisions. I think one of that answers, which also won you the Asian Housekeeping Award. I still remember
2070.
Yes, when you replied that you will first save your staff in time of a crisis so that they can also help in saving the guests, then just proceeding to save the guests. More hands to, clear the situation. That was a wonderful thing. Okay, let me test your speed now.
Ooh la la, go on.
Okay. What would be the top 3 professions that you would have chosen when you had given a chance early in your life?
Lawyer, to be an army officer, and obviously a hotelier.
If you were given a choice today, what would be the top 3 professions that you would choose?
Housekeeping, 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 and obviously on a bigger level, corporate housekeeper or
Lovely. What would you like to close your chapter as?
onwards and upwards always. Many generations can come. Millennial, Gen Z, Alpha, God knows what if I'm missing out. One thing that stays always is hard work pays off. Diligence, perseverance, and patience pays off. Atiti Devo Bhava is in us, is in each one of us. And let's work together so that it stays with us and for the generation to come. I'm so proud to be a hotelier because I get to live that every day of my life. I stand by Atiti Devo Bhava. And I really wish that this continues with generations to come.
How would you convince today's Gen Z to take up housekeeping as a career? 2
Because we are
points.
getting glamorous, we are getting richer in terms of finance and celebrity. So wait for you to be celebrated. So we are getting there and we are getting famous, richer, and more thriving at what we do because we are only getting better.
Are robots going to take over hospitality?
No, I don't think so because hospitality is all about smile. It's all about humble gestures. A smile can pierce your heart and reach through each cell of your body. Robots can smile, but I don't know if that would look genuine. I believe in hospitality, personal touch and care is everything, is of paramount importance. Yes, coffee has to taste good. Yes, the cushion has to feel right. But when a F&B professional comes, gives me a warm smile, checks on my day, checks on my mood, and even remembers my coffee flavor and gives it back and makes a personal conversation about my day, my feeling, and genuinely sympathizes or empathizes with me with whatever is the situation, that goes far beyond than robotics. Yes, we need robots. We are AI future. We need them, but I would be very smartly using that technology. At the end of the day, Atiti Devo Bhava is all to do with your personal gestures. And I don't think I would want to replace that, at least in my capacity and my understanding.
It was wonderful speaking to you, Pamini.
Oh,
Thank you so much. And we look forward to meeting you again at the International Housekeepers Summit in Goa.
thank you for having me. And it has been an amazing, amazing round of conversation. I loved it, but I'm not going to leave you just like that. I'm going to ask you something. Oh, I loved it. Very quickly, one rapid fire question for you. Did you enjoy the podcast? What are the 3 things that you're going to take away from this podcast?
Pamini, Pamini, Pamini.
I thought there would be content. Thank you, Mona. You've been always very kind. It has been an honor. Hello, everyone. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you enthusiasts out there. And please do make it a point to visit and secure your participation in IHS 2025 happening in Goa in August this year. I look forward to meeting all of you. And let's be the force to reckon with and let's make the change. Thank you so much.